Hello, friends, and welcome to Adventures in Pixieland. My name is Amy. We are in Bible study. I am indeed an ordained minister. We are in the NIV, and we will be throughout this entire year. We are reading the Old Testament and the Psalms. So that has us having to read a certain number of chapters every day, because that's just how you break it down. There's a lot of books in the Old Testament, and if you want to understand the Messiah and what makes the in-fulfillment of the scriptures, you need to read the Old Testament, because that's the scriptures he's fulfilling. So that's how it works. He paid attention to this, so we should pay attention to this. Now, we're in Genesis, okay, chapter 30, and we are going to do all of chapter 30, verses 1 through 43. So let's jump in. When Rachel saw that she was not bearing Jacob any children, she became jealous of her sister. So she said to Jacob, "Give me children, or I'll die." Jacob became angry with her and said, Am I in the place of God, who has kept you from having children?" And then she said, Here is a Bilnah, my maidservant. Sleep with her, so she can bear children for me, and that through her I too can build a family. Now, they tried this before. This did not work out well. You should be suspicious of this. So she gave him her servant Bilnah as a wife. Jacob slept with her, and she became pregnant and born him a son. Then Rachel said, "God has vindicated me. She has listened to my plea and has given me a son." Because of this, she named him Dan. So Dan here means he has vindicated. Rachel's servant Bilnah conceived again, and she bore Jacob a second son. Then Rachel said, "I have had a great struggle with my sister, and I have a son." So she named him Naphtali, which means my struggle. When Leah saw that she stopped having children, she took her maidservant Zilpah and gave her to Jacob as a wife. So what is the matter with these people? And Leah's servant Zilpah bore Jacob a son. Then Leah said, "What a good fortune." So she named him Gad. Now, fortune is F, and as a footnote of F, it's like a troop is coming, okay? And Gad can mean good fortune, or the same thing as a troop, like, okay? Leah's servant Zilpah bore Jacob a second son. Then Leah said, "How happy am I? The woman will call me happy." So she named him Asher. H. Asher means happy. That's an important thing. Because, especially since you have Ash, Kanaz, right? And that's a location, right? But Kanaz, in that area where the Ashkenaz actually is, Kanaz has a meaning in the peoples who would have been native around them, the native Saxons at the time, that Gomer's people, and then would have been intermingling, and it means the same thing in both cultures. It actually means happy beacon, like as in happy to be a beacon. That's beautiful, Asher. During wheat harvest, Reuben went out into the field and found some mandrake plants, which he brought to his mother Leah. Rachel said to Leah, "Please give me some of your son's mandrakes." Okay, but she said to her, "Wasn't it enough that you took away my husband? Will you take my son's mandrakes too?" "Very well," Rachel said. "He can sleep with you tonight in return for your son's mandrakes." So it seems that Jacob's really being ordered around by a lot of women, if you haven't noticed here. Like, he's not even deciding where he's going and what he's doing. So when Jacob came in from the fields that evening, Leah went out to meet him. "You must sleep with me," she said. "I have hired you with my son's mandrakes." So he slept with her that night. It seems like a lot of work. So God listened to Leah, and she became pregnant and bore Jacob a fifth son. Then Leah said, God has rewarded me for giving my maidservant to my husband. So she named him Issachar. It's going to put in her eye. Issachar sounds like Hebrew for reward. Leah conceived again and bore Jacob a sixth son. Then Leah said, God has presented me with a precious gift. This time my husband will treat me with honor because I have borne him 6 sons. So she named him Zebulun. Okay? Zebulun means honor. It's like, okay, but he's still like roaming around and having lots of babies with lots of people. So let's not get excited. Sometime later, she gave birth to a daughter and named her Dinah. D-I-N-H-A-N-A-H. D-I-N-A-H. Dinah. At least that's how I say it. Then God remembered Rachel. He listened to her and opened her womb. She became pregnant and gave birth to a son and said, God has taken away my disgrace. She named him Joseph. Okay. Joseph means may he add. May the Lord add to me another son. Jacob's flocks increase. I hope so, because he's got a lot of kids. After Rachel had given birth to Joseph, Jacob said to Laban, send me on my way so I can go back to my homeland and give me my wives and children for whom I have served you, and I will be on my way. You know how much work I have done for you. But Laban said to him, if you have found favor in your eyes, please stay. I have learned by a divination that... or possibly have become rich and the Lord has blessed me because of you. And he added, name your wages and I will pay them. Jacob said to him, you know I have worked for you and how your livestock has fared in my care. The little you have before you I came and has increased greatly, and the Lord has blessed you wherever you have been. Now with when may I do something for my own household? Like, he's got to take care of all these wives and children he has. What's the matter with his father-in-law? He wants to pay for his grandchildren forever? What shall I give you? He asked. Don't give me anything, Jacob replied. But if you will do this one thing for me, I will go on tending your flocks and watching over them. Let me go through all your flocks today and remove from them every speckled or spotted sheep, every dark-colored lamb, and every spotted or speckled goat. They will be my wages, and my honesty will testify to you for me in the future. Whenever you check on the wages you have paid me, any goat in my possession that is not speckled or spotted, or any lamb that is not dark-colored, will be considered stolen. Okay? Agreed, said Laban. Let it be as you have said. That same day he removed all the male goats that were streaked or spotted, and all the speckled and spotted female goats, all that had white on them, and all the dark-colored lambs, and he placed them in the care of his sons. Then he put a 3-day journey between himself and Jacob, while Jacob continued to tend the rest of Laban's flocks. Jacob, however, took fresh-cut branches from the poplar, almond, and plant trees, and made white stripes on them by peeling the bark and exposing the inner wood of the branches. Then he placed the peeled branches on all the watering troughs, so that they would be directly in front of the flocks when they came to drink. When the flocks were in heat and came to drink, they mated in front of the branches. And they bore young that were streaked and speckled or spotted. Jacob set apart the young of the flock by themselves, but the rest of the face, but made the rest face the streaked and dark-colored animals that belonged to Laban. That is, he made separate flocks for himself and did not put them with Laban's animals. So he separated his flocks from Laban's flocks. When the stronger females were in heat, Jacob would place the branches in the troughs in front of the animals, so they would mate near the branches. But if the animals were weak, he would not place them there. So the weak animals went to Laban, and the strong ones went to Jacob. In this way, the man grew exceedingly prosperous and came to own large flocks and maidservants and manservants and camels and donkeys. So he was doing selective breeding between the flocks, but only with the strong of either flock with his flock. And anything that came out like pure and everything went to, pure colored is basically what it comes down to, went over there. And he got the stuff. So it's, what I'm saying is like, yeah, so he was still being dishonest. But the guy made a bad deal because he didn't send anybody there to oversee with him. And remember, Jacob means he deceives.